Just got the truck washed. Had to spin this around real quick here. There we go. Oh. Got the truck washed. I had a little bit of spray come in. Right. Been watching these pretty good.
He comes down. I went through the gospel. God loves him. Jesus died for him, removed your sin, muscle and all. whether you're torqued up or whether you're just skinny as a rail, he'll remove your sin. And look, he would smile at the end of it. He said, "Take me to the river." So I walked down there. He would grab him, just like grabbing a knot. But down he went and up he came. But he just needed somebody to say, "Dude, you torqued up, you did well, you got you're a hawk of a man, but it's not going to last." So that's a good story.
Well, it reminds us that what it really does.
So much better when you got a nice, clean truck.
Look,
those guys, the Blue Beacon, meet most of them, not all of them. Most of them do a really, really good job on our trucks, man. They definitely earn their money washing these trucks all day long, one after another after another. Woo! Yeah. It's got to be something.
Chance I could come up with maybe just maybe it may not be.
What's going on here? I need this thing on.
This is I can't just take the food to take the chance.
How do we explain what it looks like? What you cost on this thing?
You can't believe it. I worked in construction for 10 years now. Shocked me how many people can't afford when there were services like this nationwide service that saving costs the homeowners can't stop costing.
Yeah, they definitely make their money.
You can apply for and get approved for an affordable gutter transformation with insurance. You can click the button below to find out more. I've done this for hundreds of my clients over the years, but still, so many people think it's shocking that new gutter systems.
So we just got into pretty much Illinois. Just came out of Wisconsin last night, yesterday, picked up this load. Now I'm heading to Russellville, Arkansas.
These are some of the softest.
We got to get over here. It's our one of our main plants in Arkansas. Just got to go there and get a preventative maintenance done on my truck. So I just had my driver manager, just told him, like, send me back to Arkansas, I'll get it done in Arkansas. He's like, all right, sounds good. Plus I'm getting 1,100 miles out of it, so why not? Right now we're in Illinois. We got a long journey ahead. I got a 10-hour drive right now to get there.
So this our next sponsor is really interesting because this was a book that we talked about that you read, and because we talked about this sponsor,
pretty heavy. I got 40,000 pounds on me.
read it. He recommends it. And I like it. I remember filling up one time. We had somebody in there. You know, we used to make biscuits every day at the Upland, which now, sometimes we make. But I remember we had somebody in there that was talking about what was in a biscuit, what was wrong with it. I'm hungry. I smell the biscuit. This is the coolest thing. It's one of the greatest things you can do. I'm like, figure out. Remember, y'all had these weird biscuit makers that they close. And you just put them on any kind of fire, and it's like in 10 minutes you got biscuits. And I mean, they're
Just like the fresh out of the oven.
who invented that? But awesome. And somebody was down in biscuits, like saying, well, they say, take 5 years off your life and all that. Bill's over there just being quiet. What's he gonna think about this? Because mainly we are eating biscuits. Famous jelly and Bill said, hey, whatever his name was, he said, you don't want to get to be 50, 60 years old and say to yourself, I should have ate that biscuit. And everybody hesitated, and then we're eating biscuits, them too, and I was like, no, it really wasn't a profound statement, but it's like, we're eating this biscuit, and we're going to enjoy it too. So I think you got to show, I'm all for seeing what's healthy, trying to be healthy, but
I'm listening to the Other Shame podcast.
Number one, that's just stupid.
Yeah.
If you're not putting the same
This is
amount
back
of
when
time
Phil was
into
alive.
eternity in character,
I'd never
well, that's
listened to it
stupid.
before.
A lot of people worship it.
I just
like the whole, whether it's the exercise.
wanted to hear it because they talk a lot about it. They go through the Bible, that's what they're doing. So, but they talk about life stories and all that as well.
It just becomes their thing. But it becomes your motivation too. You know what I've noticed? Because we've all dealt with a lot of people on an individual basis. I've noticed a lot of women and men who all of a sudden they start eating right and they start getting in shape.
Yep.
And everybody's thinking this is awesome. You set them on the couch, you find out that they were doing it because they were having an affair, and that was the driving motivation. Because all of a sudden, the physical was now pulled.
Body beautiful.
Well, right. Now we're getting out of the situation. So here I am thinking, now wait a minute. I'm all for getting in shape. I'm all for you feeling better about yourself. But you've turned that into something that's wrecking your life and your family. And it's sinful behavior. Let's stick to the working out and gearing that, toward the husband or whatever. But so I'm just saying, you can't take it at face value because, like, in the world, they're like, oh, isn't this great? She's bettering herself, or he's doing, well, yeah, it's got a hook in it. That particular act had a hook in it.
Say what they will, Al. I've been saying this for years. Where the Jesus rate is high,
We're back on this.
the crime rate is
The
low.
sin rate is sin. I like
Where the
sin
crime
rate.
rate is high.
I'd actually like to see some stats on this, or some numbers. As a general
It's
rule,
just from observation.
I know, but you live in the middle of nowhere and you don't go out. But I'll probably agree
Look at
just
our
because
culture. Look at our culture, Jason. Tell me what you think.
the world's a big place, but I think the principles that are applying are probably true, but I just don't have I don't know how to study that, is all I'm saying.
I do, just observation.
It's a matter of science.
I just look and see.
Yeah, I would love for somebody to do a study, but unfortunately in our society, they don't do studies.
Well, I know there are good people in crime areas, unfortunately, that are trapped there. That's unfortunate, this current climate. But I do agree that there are a lot of sinful people running around making life miserable for a lot of people in the current climate we see there today. But to your point a minute ago, Jess, you're right. Lisa and I have worked with, obviously, we work with a lot of people who have had affairs and things like that. And I can't tell you how many times these things will come on the heels of someone making a big physical transformation. It's like all of a sudden something kicked into them. It's like, and then all of a sudden they're kind of out there in a way they wouldn't have been before. They're just looking at it through the wrong lens. And
I brought that up because I see it. So,
I see it
so
a lot.
all of a sudden their dress starts changing. They start
right.
showing more of their body because they want to show it all.
right.
And I'm like, you're attracting, this is not the type of attention.
Mm-hmm.
You want to show more of your body? Go home with your husband or
Your wife?
Yeah, and show it off to them and have a big time. God sanctioned, go for it. But that's not, in a lot of cases, what's happening. You're familiar with that too.
Oh, yeah.
So my point is, we're all into healthy things that make you have a healthy life, but what separates us from the world, it's what you're doing with that that's more important. If you're using it as some kind of weapon to destroy your family and, disrupt your kids and lose your eternal salvation, well, I'm not sanctioning that. In the grand scheme of things, that's really small to what's the kind of food you're putting in your spiritual life. And I mean, look, if we convert someone who's 300 pounds overweight, obviously we're going to get to making better, healthy decisions. But I know one thing, if they have the Spirit of God and they have the greatest manual in the history of the planet to help you make better decisions, you're going to be way more on the right road to making that kind of decision than you were just saying, hey, why don't you eat healthy, so you'll get 10 more years on the earth.
That becoming your thing. There was a question that I'm going to ask the question. I'm going to take a break, and we'll come back and try to do it. This is interesting because we get a lot of questions like this. This is from Robert, and I think the problem with Robert, with the question as you framed it, is that we're looking at it from the wrong perspective. But here's what he said: why would God allow a person to be born? Which, off the bat, there's a problem with that, but that lives an unrepentant life and eventually goes to hell. If God knows they are eventually going to hell and going to suffer for eternity, why would he even allow it?
Heard it thousands of times.
And then he even comes back with what I would have said anyway. Wouldn't we refuse to reproduce and have kids if we knew they were going to hell? We would break our hearts the whole time. So let's take a break and then we'll tackle that.
This is the fastest proven way to actually remove under-eye bags with no Botox and no surgery. If you're like me, you've pretty much tried every
Break and then we'll tackle that.
I've heard this question many times. It's usually coming from a place of trying to put God in our understanding. Because you got to remember, the first thing I always say to that question is, I don't even answer the question, because I'm like, you're trying to put God on a timeline. Here's the problem with that. He doesn't time. It's just a line. There's no timeline. So if you have a being who is bigger than before, present, and after, he's bigger than those three concepts. So the only time exists is here. So we look at something like, well, if he knew beforehand what was going to happen after, well, why didn't he do? Well, he's only using that phraseology in the Bible for our benefit. It's not before, during, it just is. So my quick response would be, we've been studying John, somewhere in John 7. It says something about chooses, let's see, 7. Now he was making a different point, but I just want to use this illustration. John 7:17. It says, Jesus says, if anyone chooses to do God's will, he will find out whether my teaching comes from God or whether I speak on my own. And all my point is, well, God already knows what we're going to choose. So my question in response to his question would be, well, why did Jesus say that? Because he already knows who chose what. Well, why did he say that?
No, you gotta be kidding me,
process
dude.
was his idea to show his love and to have a family, an eternal family, because that is his nature. So, you can get into other areas of, you don't really understand good unless you had evil. You don't understand glory unless you had dishonor. There's always two sides of this thing for you to realize where you're at, which I think that's ultimately why this operates the way it does.
I think you're right. There's two things that I see in the question. One is, there is the importance of choice. God gave us choice. We were created to choose. Up to that verse, the garden, all of it. So choice is our part in this. And so it's not like he takes that choice away, because Robert, the way you framed the question was he would give us no choice if he only created us to do those that would only go to heaven. I mean, you have to make a choice. Number two is the importance of life. Because think about this. To answer the question, that's exactly what God did. He intervened in time by Jesus coming here. Look, he knew what was going to happen to Jesus. He knew he was going to suffer. He knew he was going to die.
Well, even
He knew all
saying that is it's like he knew, but he just knows. He just interjected himself as a man, but the whole plan has already happened.
That's
That's
right.
why some troubling verses in the Bible, they're not troubling if you look at it from God's perspective. Like the one in Ephesians 2 where it says, he seated us with him in the heavenly realms. Well, nobody wants to talk about that. Right? They're like, well, that's a translation issue. No, in his mind, we're seated with him in the heavenly realms.
You can already see it yonder.
Before we even got here. That's why your heart is so important. You're not going to trick God. But I would recommend for Robert is to go back. We did a whole podcast about Judas because there was a similar question. Well, why, is Judas? What's the deal with that?
Didn't seem fair because, he kept warning about what was going to happen. It didn't seem fair to Judas. It was almost like he didn't have a chance to not.
Yeah, they think he didn't have a choice. He was just created. Well, I think go back and listen to that and you'll see our take on it. To me, it's the opposite. The fact that Judas, he was chosen as one of the chosen 12, that he washed his feet, that he loved him, I think shows that God's nature, even those who don't want to choose, you get to live. You get the chance, and you know what, even though he knows the ones who didn't, there's something about this process, all of us going through it, and I mean process, life. There's something about life, whether people decide to not make the most of it, or they embrace Jesus. There's something in that battle that we all share, that experience, that ultimately is victory.
Well, God has provided ways for a person. He said, if he already knew this going to hell, first of all, they made the decision. I don't care what you say, God. He's provided the manual. He's provided the ones, such as ourselves, to proclaim. I declare to you, brothers, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God, nor does the perishable. That's every one of us. What's that guy's name? Robert, you're perishable, my man.
1 Corinthians 15.
Yep. The perishable can't inherit the imperishable, Robert. Listen, I'll tell you a mystery. And you asked the question, so it's a mystery to you. We will not all sleep. That's when you die. But we will all be changed in a flash, in the twinkling of an eye at the last trumpet. Here comes Jesus back, and if you die, all the ones in the grave, they're coming back to life. Some to hell, some to heaven. The trumpet will sound, the dead will be raised, the sons of God and daughters, imperishable, and we will be changed to live in a different realm in eternity. For the perishable, that's what we are now, must clothe itself with the imperishable. That's what we'll be. And the mortal, the imperishable, and the mortal with immortality. When the perishable has been clothed with the imperishable, and the mortal with immortality, then the saying that is written will come true. Death has been swallowed up in victory. Where, O death, is your victory? Where, O death, is your sting? Because it comes upon all of us. The sting of death is sin. That's what causes it. Separation from God. God sent Jesus to solve it for you. And the power of sin is the law. You never kept the law, Robert, and I didn't either. You made a conscious decision to break it. But, thanks be to God, He gives us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. Therefore, dear brothers, stand firm. Let nothing move you. Immortality's on the line here. Always give yourself fully to the work of the Lord, which we're doing right now. because you know that your labor in the Lord is not in vain. There's an escape hatch that God has fixed so that all can escape if they want to. But it's their choice, like you said, Al. It's their choice
I
to
want to
make.
bring up in the last minute that we have Romans 8, which I think answers the question directly. But, you know, it's this question of, one of you will say to me, this is Romans 8:19, why does God still blame us, for who resists his will? And he says, but who are you, oh man, talk back to God. Shall what is formed say to him who formed it, why did you make me like this? Does not the potter have the right to make out of the same lump of clay some pottery for noble and some for common use?
That answers Robert's question.
And then it says, what if God, choosing to show his wrath and making his power known, bore with great patience the objects of wrath prepared for destruction? What if he did this to make the riches of his glory known to the objects of his mercy, whom he prepared in advance for glory? Even us. So my point is, you read that, you think, ultimately it's his call. We don't have a better explanation for life and where we're going. I think some of this will be made a little more clear once we're all standing literally in the presence of God. But to me, I think there's something to the process of the good and the bad and having an understanding of true victory. You wouldn't know if you weren't competing and someone didn't lose. Well, how would you know what it was to win?
Yeah,
You couldn't win if you didn't lose.
he made us, and 2 Peter 3 says he doesn't want anyone to perish, and everyone to choose him. So
Just make sure you choose victory in Jesus.
Hey, Robert, are you listening, boy?
choose wisely. So thank you, Robert. Thank you, Bobby, because we were talking about your question about struggle when we first started the podcast. I'll close out by reminding you that Dad's got a new book, Jesus Politics. It's going to be coming out. It's going to be released on August the 4th, but you can pre-order, and we'd like you to pre-order. It helps us to be able to promote the book.
Pre-order, and Miss Kay made coconut pies today.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
That's why I took off
So,
the earphone.
JesusPoliticsBook.com is where you go. The first 2,000, you get a signed copy. Chapters of the book to have it available if you'll pre-order your copy today. So thank you, Unashamed Nation. Thank you for listening to us. So we're so glad you guys were with us today.
Stop. Peyton, Louisiana just secured the ultimate protein coffee bundle. What's going in her box?
I am unashamed. What about you?
So we talked about on the podcast prior about the mother of all commode flushes. So
Well, the last time I heard, you were going to get a track hoe.
first you had to get a
Make
sapling.
a tree. Yeah, pick a tree like, you know, people go hunt for Christmas trees. I'm looking for a tree to use it as a plunger.
It's good. With the right prong. Remember, it had to have the right prong.
That's why I got plunger. And you're basically, so what did y'all do?
Well, y'all's problem is your idea of what needs to be done is coming from a couple of yuppie bucks that live in the subdivision. You don't want to take subdivision yuppie type, men with some wealth. You don't want to take their advice when it comes to
Some
beaver
wealth.
dam removal and the rootering of large pipes. The pipe under consideration here is a 48-inch pipe. That's 4 feet. 4 feet is a pretty good sized pipe. If you got up in front of that, when you break the beavers pile mud in there, because with the water ebb and flow back during duck season, I just raised my plate up that shuts that water off. 4-foot plate. Raised it up. I said, because the water was coming in from the river. So I didn't want to flood the duck hole too much, but we had too much water. So I opened that plate up where water would just come in, and I said, I'll just leave it open to the spring. Well, the water got 20 feet deep there.
How
15 to
did the
20.
beavers put the mud there when it's 20-foot deep? That was
Only a beaver would know the answer to that question that Mr. Subdivision would come up with. So you're like, the beavers did it,
Mr.
and unbeknowing to me, they piled a huge, I'd say, maybe a ton of earth mixed with logs at the front of that pipe, and up in there for about 5 or 6 feet, it was solid, just debris. Beavers, that's what they do for a living. They came here, they got flat tails and teeth that gnaw down trees. That's why I've always said the salt water didn't make that thing at all. But anyway, they plugged it. I went down and looked at it,
Well, what happened to the Trico thunder?
because I said to myself, there's so much work involved if you have a hand rake, a potato rake. It's just got 4 claws on it that go down.
That's how you normally get them out.
Well, yeah.
When
Yeah.
you're not bad.
12-inch
yeah.
pipe, you can.
Or
rake
you
off-
could have done what I said, which is blow it up and start over.
No, you blow up your pipe.
You get in it. They sell pipe.
Good idea,
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah,
Subdivision.
but when you're talking 48 inches long and about 40 feet long, 48-inch hole, you're talking money
This
now.
is the selling the bowling suit for the birthright. You get to watch a spectacular show, which is the
As it
admission
turns out,
to the
every
pipe.
time there's infrastructure at stake here, which is what we're discussing, I'm the one that put all that in there.
I
You know,
agree.
I'm not an engineer, but I did work it out to where I put water on the hole or water off the hole. But anyway, I walked up there and looked at it, and I said, one way to do this quickly, without any danger of a man being sucked up into that. Once that dirt leaves, and the water on the lower side is 3 feet lower, well, 3 feet of water is a powerful thing. Because when that thing starts to flow, it is the mother of all commode flushes.
And Dan
you
has been
have
in
a-
danger before.
Dan,
But you have a ninja, isn't he? I've seen this
That's
guy crawl on a wall.
I'm not a
So-
ninja, but I got the rake, and I went down there, and I got around it, and I began to remove that stuff, the mud. And I worked on it about an hour. So I'm 74 years old, and I'm taking mud out of there until I get a flow. And I noticed little curls in the water, meaning water is leaving. So I said, I have a flow.
Exit the
But it's
building.
still a lot of mud there. I said, if I wait, the river now, the downside is a foot lower. I said, I'll wait till the river keeps falling on the downside of the pipe to where I have 2 to 3 feet. I said, because that puts more pressure on that dirt. If the lower side, see, you got water level like this, and a pipe in the middle. When it's the same level, there is no curve.
Basically,
When the
just
river starts falling, the dump water starts coming out. But anyway, I go up there
creating
with the rake.
natural suction
Yes,
pressure.
pressure.
The only problem is you don't want to be on the front side.
Anywhere
When the
near the
pressure-
opening of the pipe,
With
because
your
when that water
potato
starts to, when it busts loose, it does it in you've got about 5 seconds from it's broke, the water's going through the pipe. You got 5 seconds to get out of that front, because
And
you
if
will
you're
be like
6
a
feet
missile
tall,
in with
yeah.
the debris. You will be caught up in that, and you'll have a wild ride for 40 feet. You'll live, but it's gonna push you
Well,
out.
you
of the
hope.
middle.
If you got to make
You don't want to
yourself
tumble. I told Dan, just hold your arms straight out, pray, and just, you'll be like a missile falling in the mud. But I mean, you
It's
know,
like
the
a-
old cannon to shoot the guy out of the cannon.
it's
right?
like a beaver dam washing machine.
I saw the guy on television that got sucked up into a 2-foot pipe, and he lived, but he went covered.
So someone else tried what you're doing?
Oh yeah, he was trying to get it off his yard. Well, that 2-foot pipe, when he broke all that debris, all that stuff in the subdivision, by the way,
See?
he went feet first. So he's feet first, going 30 to 40 feet, and the water's blowing him like a missile. But he was severely scarred up by the time he got to the end.
You figure you got 4 feet, you got twice as much room.
Yeah,
As long as you
maneuver
make
room.
yourself 4 feet
Hold
the
on,
initial
hold your
blast.
breath, and when you go out the other end, I'll be down there, we'll throw you a rope. But, so Dan is down there, and I said, Dan, once you hear that thing break, you start seeing that current start, I said, get out of there. So I sent Stone and Dan. I figured, instead of me, I said, well, you know, I told them
they're
before they
expendable.
got out there, I said, boys, y'all are what you call expendable. I said, so do
How
the
did
deal.
how did
How did they take
They
that?
looked, well, they looked at each other and then they looked back at me and said, what's that word? I said, expendable. I said, you'll live, but it'll be tough ride. So he gets down there with the thing, Dan's working on it, and he's going, he said, I got my drag way up in the pipe. I said,
The #1 hair regrowth shampoo just dropped to its lowest price ever. If you've been wanting to try Spartan X,
he said, I got my drag way up in the pipe. I said, do you feel current building? He said, it's getting more all the time. I said, be careful now because it needs to go. Well, he goes up in there, and no more had I got that out of my mouth. I heard something. And Dan and Stone was saying, get back. I heard Flash talking. Well, one goes out one side, one the other to get back up on the levee. And when that thing broke loose, what I saw coming out of the end of that pipe, it was just logs and mud, just churning like
Like the Mississippi River.
Oh no, it was like a waterfall on the ground. So anyway, that thing starts, they're up on the back, we're all looking at it, and they were all like, good night. I said, you don't want to be part of that flow now.
But you know,
now I
I've
have a 48-inch stream of water on a round pipe. It's just blowing. So we pulled it off one more time. I had a juke pole ready with a track hole, but it had claws on the little end.
Oh, but you didn't need.
I had, and I chainsaw on the big end. Add your pipe up in there and get a track hole.
But you
let the track hole be sitting on top of
no,
it.
I don't agree with that. Swinging a log around.
That's why you weren't there.
Is that why he didn't get the call?
You didn't get the call.
Mr.
Because he's talking about engineering. There's an
No,
engineering
I'm talking
factor.
safety. So you said that's the safest way?
They said, oh, what you ought to do? I said, how far you go? Well, I graduated high school. I said, that's not high enough up. We gotta be.
See, Dad graduated from Louisiana Tech University, which is a very good engineering school. So I guess there must have been a class back in the 60s.
My major was not engineering, but I ran around enough engineers to get a little input from time to time. The bottom line is, boys, I'm
You should
taking
write
care
a
of the
manual.
The water
You have-
control is working like a charm right now.
You have intellect, you have street smart. Then you have Jesus smart, which is the ultimate education.
Well, that covers you in case the whole thing goes
So
south.
my point is, this reminds me of the time that they sunk the boat. I think we told the story here, and I was the only one who was driving. Despite all these great minds of engineering on how to make an ice hole before daylight to use a boat, my boat was dry, and I was the only one in it. Theirs sunk.
So you just your deal is avoidance. I just want to.
No,
We had too
I'm
many
saying-
men in the boat. I was turning too short of circles. When the
Yeah.
boat sunk, I was the only one who knew how deep the water was. I knew the water would be just below the riggers.
So you just rode down with the
I
ship,
was
right?
barking orders, but the boat was sinking. Everybody's trying to size grabbing all the weapons because we're going to duck out here. It's before daylight, it's dark, and I'm just riding the boat down, and I knew how deep the water was. It was not over my head. But they didn't know that, so they're flying.
But Jay was with me, he bailed out. Phil said, y'all help us.
I gave them a bit of good advice.
I said, no.
Stand up. I knew the boat was sinking.
I belayed that order. But the reason I'm telling this is the street smart, I knew it wasn't. Nobody's going to try. Then they could stand, didn't figure that part out. So I also knew. And also knew there was nothing I could do. But I'm just saying from a safety issue, I thought somebody has, because it's really cold, somebody's got to be the survivor to offer help. An attempt.
Or just to report what happened there.
It was not that big a deal. Stone asked Jay, you going to help him? Because we was all in the water. Jay said, he said, yeah.
So he jumped and said, are you
The
coming?
boat goes down. Before it goes down, I step out of the boat and my waders. I've got about 3 inches of freeboard.
So you didn't get wet.
So look, and the old mud boat, the back up. So I'm holding the boat. I said, give us some help. Let's get this boat moved over here.
But that didn't work.
It's too heavy.
No,
Went over on the log.
The motor went under.
Well, but it didn't go over the air breather, so I knew we didn't have water in the motor. We'd crank it when we get the boat bailed
The
out.
story's getting
Went over there,
foggy through the
we
years.
bailed it out. Somebody come up with an old plastic deal, and we bailed it out. Got back in the boat. It was in the blind. We set our decoys out. Everybody's wet but me and Jace. I didn't get wet and the boat sinking, but everybody else got wet.
Well,
It was cold. It
That
was
story's
ice.
taking a turn. I think everybody was wet. Not me. I didn't. I wasn't there, so
I was down.
I only heard the story, and I thought it was funny because when something happens of big proportion like this, money or whatever, so we got to assess whose fault it was pretty quickly. That's usually what we do. We miss a bunch of ducks. We got to figure out who's.
I had too many men in the boat, and I was cut too short. It was taking on water every
But the
time.
line I heard you first said was you looked up at the boys in the front. You said, "Too many honey buns. Too many honey buns.
Yeah, that was
Heavy. We got some heavy
I was
hunters."
watching the robust men, and they were moving the slowest. And I said, "Yeah, that honey
My
bun
point
crowd."
was, when that was,
I wasn't there.
my
so-
point was, when I saw what was happening, I thought this is a bad idea. And I'm saying, when I heard you talking about cutting a tree and using it as a plunger, I had the same feeling. I thought this is a bad.
Rotor-Rooter.
Rotor-Rooter.
Homemade Rotor-Rooter. No, it worked. It would have worked.
Over 8,000 men have permanently broken free from the keyword by watching one single video training that you can actually watch by clicking the link below the video.
Homemade Rotor-Rooter. No, it worked. It would have worked.
I'm not
Did you?
Yeah.
I tried calling you when I got back in the truck.
I had a person in the chair and I felt my butt vibrate, but I was like, I can't.
I didn't know
I
you.
couldn't answer.
What time did you start?
I got here at 8, but me and Allie had to do some research because they kept changing this test and it's considered critical frozen. And I was like, what are we going to do about freezing it? She said, well, you're going to leave the tube in the freezer all day, and when they leave at the end of the day, they'll bag it up and take it out there. So,
Yeah.
well, if it ain't frozen by then, it's not my fault.
Yeah. Yippers?
And they're sending me to one more location, and I can go home.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're sending you everywhere.
The one right by the house, the owner lady is really, I don't like her. She's rude. Her mouth is filthy. The way she talks to her patients is ridiculous.
Who
But
is
that's
that?
where I'm going.
Who is that?
She's the owner.
Of the one you're going to, or the one you're at in Terre Haute?
Yeah, the one I'm going to.
Okay.
But they're going to have me start going there 3 days a week.
So you're going to be at Mooresville the other 2 days, and then those 3 days?
I'll go to Mooresville and the one right by the house 3 days a week.
What about the other one, the third one?
The third one I only have to go on Monday and Thursday.
Okay.
I guess because it's outpatient.
So did you apply for the supervisor position?
No.
Might as well. I would. And you can sit at home all day, babe.
Park orders hours from my couch.
Yep. You can watch soap operas all day, and yeah.
No, that would make me nuts.
I got the truck washed. And it's like blinging. It's like a brand new truck and trailer.
So, you're headed to Arkansas now?
Yep. Woke up and did my duty. Came out. Did my pre-trip. Took it up there. Put some fuel in it. So I won't have to stop other than my 8-hour break. Hello there, big river. So what do you gotta do at the other place?
Send out one specimen.
Send out one specimen.
You can't wait till Monday.
What do you gotta do? Drop it off at UPS again?
That would just literally have to smack a label on it, put it in a bag, and put it in a box and drive away.
They can't do that?
I guess not. I'm like, oh well, that's extra mileage, I guess.
Yeah. That's insane. I gotta be very, very hot here for too long. I better get some cold air on.
How warm is it there?
It says it was 70.
It's like 70 here. Left this morning.
Yeah. Long drive. 10.5 hours.
10 and a half?
Get there.
That's Circle City.
I'll probably stop before I get there. Like, I got 9 hours and 31 minutes of drive time. I'll be there in 9 hours and 14 minutes. But more than likely, I'll probably stop before I get there. At a Love's or something that's close by there, get my shower, take my 10 and go there first thing in the morning.
Is it not due till tomorrow?
Yeah, it's not due till tomorrow afternoon.
No.
Dang. Yeah, tomorrow at noon. I can have it there tonight. crop dusters out here flying around.
Yeah.
Coming right at us. Literally. Dropping fast. Turning, banking a little bit. Oh yeah, see how high he is above the ground. Oh dang, he's all like he is literally a foot or two above the corn. Wow. There's one guy that's on 40. If you see him in the morning, it's about the same time right now. He goes crazy when he does it. Like he flies it like a fighter jet. He'll come down and he'll like skim and then he'll pull straight up on the stick, go straight up and then freaking curve and then like do a barrel roll and then come back down and like it's crazy to watch him. I see him all the time when I'm on 40 heading towards Arkansas. That dude, yeah. He's having fun when he does it.
He loves it.
Yeah. Like, yeah. Surprised he didn't make himself pass out from the cheese when he pulls up, freaking goes straight up in the air, and then barrel rolls and comes right back down, right, like literally right beside where he just came up at, so you know they can get, like when they do the field, they got to go, you know, whatever. To get the whole field, they got to go side by side by side by side. Remember where they were. Yeah. He's just like, I'm like, holy crap. And then one field he does on the left, and then he comes across the interstate. So he's literally almost taking the top of your trailer off. That's how low he is. Like he come right over the top of me one time. I'm like, oh, hit me. Like, holy crap. Yeah. He's having fun. I think that would be a fun job to do. I mean, he's literally flying it like a fighter jet. Like he's trying to get away from somebody. I think his airport's literally right across the street from where all this is. There's like a little miniature airport with a grass landing strip. It's got a couple hangars out there, so it might be all his land, honestly. His airport, his land, his fields. So I'm sure they probably make a pretty penny doing that. Instead of having a tractor out there spraying it, you got a guy that can do it in 10 minutes in a plane. All the way to Kansas City and go down, or which way it's going to take me. I don't think it'll take me to 40. I think it's going to take me 70.
Are you still in Wisconsin?
No, I'm in Illinois now.
Oh.
I got into Illinois last night.
Oh.
I was right on the border. wake you up, or did you just wake up?
No, I just woke up. I still had 48 minutes of sleep. My eyes just popped open.
How's the bed sleeping?
Lovely.
Lovely. It's not hard to you or nothing?
No.
Kind of contours to your big booty?
Yes. I never sleep on my back, but I found myself flat on my back this morning when my eyes popped open. I was like, I never sleep on my back.
It's a comfortable bed.
It's very comfortable.
So yeah, everybody, I got the bed that I got in my truck that I bought the same king size bed for the house. My wife wanted it. My wife was on my bed in my truck, and I was like, I like it. So I got one for the house. They're inexpensive too. They're not that bad. They're like a little less than $400. Wasn't bad at all. No, it's almost, that's pretty much $400 with taxes. Like $390 something, I think.
And the comforter will be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
My trash bag.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm not fond of these pine sol ones. They don't even smell like pine sol. I don't even know what they smell like, but it's not pine sol.
Exactly.
What?
These ones were eucalyptus and peppermint. I got 90 for $21.
Eucalyptus and peppermint?
Yep.
Okay. Those ones we bought at Meijer, I'm pretty sure it was at the Meijer.
Yeah.
The eucalyptus ones, those smell awesome. I love the smell of them. They're good.
The eucalyptus ones?
Yeah, the ones I bought for the truck.
Yeah.
Gray.
This is the double roll.
Oh,
It's the extra big box. It's got 90 trash bags in it.
you'll be good for a couple months.
And there's the gray ones with the black
Yeah,
in the inside, the
That's-
extra strong ones.
that's what mine were. Yeah. That's what mine was.
Yeah, I don't like the white ones. They tear too much.
Well, those gray ones will tear at the top.
Yeah,
They did.
sometimes.
They did mine. Sometimes, yeah. My can, my trash can. Same thing for Christmas. Oh. Oh, Lord Jesus, Lord Jesus. Out here in the middle of nowhere. Farmland and windows. Maybe. I still don't know if I'm gonna do it or not. I don't know. How long did you say that was? 29 inches, 59 inches?
One was 49 and one was 59. Almost 5 feet.
I know the thing, it can't go straight up. It's got to go kind of out, angle out. It's got to be away from the truck. And I got to get the one that's got an extender on it. But it's really, really hard
Yeah.
to put it up, and then you got to come in here and kind of stand on it, on the door, put the whip up, shut the door, and then calibrate it to see if it passes. If it doesn't pass, it keeps failing. It's worthless. So you got to get it at the right spot, the right height, and then you got to check your antenna, and then you got to check your RF, which is this thing, your mic. RF. Check and see if it passes. If it all passes, then you're good. Tighten it down and be done with it. Because I had a hard time with my feeder belts. I could never get them to pass, and I was like, why is it not passing? And I got the one with the tail whip, and I extended it all the way up, and it went right past the top of my truck, about 4 inches.
Yeah.
I came back in
So
here.
where do you put the antenna?
What?
Where would you put the antenna?
It'll be on my mirror.
No.
There's a bracket. You just take the 2 bolts out of the front of the mirror. There's a bracket that goes in. Or take the 2 bolts out of the mirror, put the bracket on, and put the bolts back in and tighten it down. It just sits on the outside of the mirror. It's real easy.
No.
But the Kenworths have the antennas on the mirrors themselves, so you just replace the antenna and make it a bigger antenna, and it's fine. And then the Peterbilts are in the, well, they have ones like these that are up top. They all have those, but the Peterbilt's antenna's in the back, mounted in the middle of the sleeper. And the antenna is just, so the antenna they have on it, it's like, I mean, it's a, I don't know, a 2-foot antenna, but it doesn't go anywhere outside of the truck. You can't. Like, how are you going to hear anything when the whole truck is sitting around it? So you can only hear really out the sides of it. So when I got the antenna with the whip on it, it would never pass. Even the antenna in the truck would never pass. So I was like, what the frick? So then I finally got the one with the whip, and I extended it up as far up as it would go, and it wouldn't pass. And that was probably like 1.5 to 2 feet above the truck. And so I was like, what the frick? So I took it in to where the Love's guy was, and I said, hey, cut 2 inches off this thing. So they took the little wheel and they cut it off. I came back out the truck and I slid it back in. It was like, it was getting, I could tell the calibration was getting better and better and better, but it still was failing. So I'd go back in, hey, cut another inch off. They'd cut it. I'd come back up here and put it back on. Like, nope, not yet. I'd go back in there, cut another inch off. They'd cut another inch off. Like the 3rd or 4th time I did that, I came back out and I tightened it up and I got back in here. It was perfect, calibrated perfect, everything passed. And then that's when I could hear the dude like 12 miles away from me. I got on there and did a radio check. It was late at night too. I got on there and did a radio check, and I got a guy that was like, you could hear him, but he was kind of, you can understand what he was saying, but he was kind of faint. He's like, I hear you loud and clear. I said, where are you located? And he said, I don't remember what, he was on a highway about, I think it was like 15 miles away or something like that. He's like, I'm getting ready to pass this exit. I'm like, holy crap. All right. Well, I'm over here at the Love's. He's like, man, looks good. more, they can hear you a lot farther. Because with this antenna, it's like, you maybe get an eighth of a mile, maybe a quarter of a mile, and that's it. Fresh cut grass. I love this. I miss that smell. Well, I want a yard. I want a house with a big yard. Get my little zero-turn mower. I'll just have a company come out. I just want you to weed eat it. Just weed eat it. I'll mow it. You just weed eat it. Weed eat it. Blow it off.
We can do that ourselves.
I know, but I don't want to.
I can do it.
No.
Why?
You get hurt weed eating.
I used to mow lawns as a teenager for money.
Yeah.
We had to weed eat. We had to actually hand rake the lawn because we didn't have a lawnmower with a catcher. We had to sweep the sidewalk and driveway with a broom.
Yep. Zero turn, you get a mulcher. You get mulcher blades. It mulches it up.
Yeah.
So you never have to rake anything. The one time you'll need something like that is if you want to do leaves.
Yeah.
But that's what a blower's for. To blow the leaves. Like I did at Mom's house. And it works perfect. You just gotta pick up all the leaves at the end, that's all. Thank God we didn't have to do that again.
Yeah. We got lucky that second year. We didn't have to do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it wasn't bad. The wind took care of most of it. I'm up to like 54 followers now, so people are starting to follow me little by little. Looks like I get better at teaching the Bible studies on my Sundays I'll be like, oh, Bible church on Sunday. Listen while I'm driving. You can hear church. I'll put it on YouTube on my tablet, let it run, and then turn it up. That's what I was just listening to Unashamed. I was like, yeah, we're going to listen to this podcast, Unashamed podcast while we're driving. So I listened until you called.
I think I'm finally in the third.
Yeah. At 107 now. Got years to go. I'll never catch up. Well, I might catch up eventually, but it'll take years to do it. Because almost like 1,200 episodes right now.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
They stop after you pass.
They're still going. Still going. Damn, my truck and trailer looks good. Can't wait to get my crosses up there. That looks really cool. I'm trying to figure out where I want to put them. Probably on the door. The exit door. Alright, Brian, get out of there. A lot of people say if you do crime, if you want to be like a lease purchase, they're one of the best companies to do a lease purchase with. Their trucks are so slow, they only go like 64, 65 miles an hour, man. It's like, no. That's just,
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't get past all day long. That'd be so discouraging. Like when I was working with Carter, Bye. See you later. I'll fill up your stuff, buddy. Oh, here, getting ready to come into Bloomington Illinois. Jesus is your name. So you said you got to go by the house, one by the house?
Yeah, and then I'll go down to get Leilani's groceries.
Let's get that out of the way today.
Yeah.
I didn't see any rain today either, right? I like the overcast clouds. The sun's not crazy. It's clear all the way down to Arkansas.
It's starting to pop out here now. It's already 78.
Yeah, it's right. It's 72 here. Hello, friend. Who's ever watching? I can see you. I don't know who you are. Hello. Jet driver. Man, I was so stoked to call that lady back yesterday when I thought she said something racing. I was like, what? Really? Heck, I'm going for that one. I was like, thank you, Jesus. This is what I want to do, is drive for a race team. That'd be awesome. I don't even care what kind of car or whatever. I just want it to be cool. I wouldn't be home much, but I'd love my job. That's for sure. Be awesome.
I just quit my job of roadie.
Quit your job, become a roadie?
Yeah.
Come on. I'm sure they wouldn't care. Yeah, bring her with you. All right. I have to bring the cats too. That would, oh yeah. I don't think they like that.
That might not work very well. I gotta get more cat suckers.
Yeah. An orange Maine Coon.
They go what?
Orange Maine Coon cat. We'll find them. Might have to travel to go get one, but
I have to call Aunt Lori and see if that lady has any more.
yeah, call her.
I don't know, litter.
Give her a sob score, see if we can get one for $100.
You think Bobby would be nice to a kid?
Well, if it grows up with them, yeah. They'll get used to it. It's just like,
Well, there are.
I mean, it's just like Bubby and Peanut. Bubby was hissing at Peanut for a while and then came around. I think he would be the same with another cat.
Took him about 4 days to accept his fate.
Yeah. Because when that Maine Coon grows up, Bubby's going to be like, oh, crap. Yeah, I'm cool. I'm cool. Just, yeah, we're cool. He got the other two moms.
Huh?
So they both got, along with the other two cats, and moms. I mean,
Yeah, they did.
they dealt with it and just, if they got hissed at, they got hissed at. They want to smack them, smack them. Chow, chow.
There was plenty of that going on.
Yeah. They were together for what? A month? A little over, almost 2 months?
2 months old to die.
See? They were all right with him. Bubby never hissed like he did at Peanut to him.
He hissed once or twice the entire time, but not very often, and usually it was them hissing at him.
Yeah. You get them as a baby, and they grow up. Because Bubby and Peanut are still young. They got a long life ahead of them. Hope to God they have a long life. Nothing happens to them. nothing ever does. We need to get pet insurance though.
Each time I got it for like $30.
Well, we need to get it so it'll cover if something's to happen. It'll cover the vet bill.
Yeah. I'll look into it. Make my job hopeless.
Maybe I thought it was just like you pay it and they reimburse you.
Yeah, you pay the bill and then they send you a check to cover it. You have to send them a copy of the vet bill and then they reimburse you. Yeah, because for Russell, you need $53 a month.
Do what?
A month.
You're just breaking up, babe. You're all fuzzy and freezing. I'm probably in a bad spot. I'm out here in the middle of nowhere, with cornfields.
Dude.
Alright, did you want to ride my butt? I'm going to slow down. Yeah, the reason that your grill's all taped to your truck. Freaking idiot. Oh my lord. Riding my butt. His whole grill is duct taped to the front of his truck. There's a reason why it's like that. Because your driving skills are, yeah.
Fine. Go out and try to do one that hate your brain.
Sounds like my life. That lady still hasn't emailed me that I know of. I don't want to look at it, see what it's, just look at it. 3,000 a week average, I mean that's after all expenses. Not bad. Yeah, buddy, you are my body. My Jesus, my Jesus, I pray for you. Let the Lord will bless you. Yeah, good song. Yeah, buddy. Freaking idiot, Werner.
girls all taped up in the front because you don't know how to drive people's butts for no reason. Excuse me. Lord, for a bird and my mouth.
Lord, that I love in the world, oh my love is with you. You're my friend, my Savior. You give me peace, you give me grace. Oh Lord, is salvation great. Oh, when you think that you're down and under, that's when the Lord shines His brightest on. So you think that you're so down, but the Lord will come around. Lead again, He'll give you strength, He'll give you peace, He'll give you grace. Oh, the Lord is our saving grace. He'll keep us warm with His embrace. Just made that one up. Good stuff, man. It's Jesus. Jesus flowing out of my mouth. Oh. Take off there, Mercedes. Go get that ticket there, buddy. Go right ahead there, buddy. Try and get that ticket. Good for you, man. You're so cool, man.
I said, it saves a lot of time. I said, so I got water coming out of it down there, Dan. I said, go up in there. He's Mr. Muscle Man. He's on the bars. I mean, listen, this dude is solid muscle. You need a man like that. I said, get down there, because I knew he had sustained muscle power. Well, he's with that rake, and I said, we make and do this without having to track hole. Red bringing it down, and we rode a route.
I like your compromise.
So
I
basically,
think it was a good
Dan
idea.
broke it loose, and the water took off.
And he managed to not be a projector.
Because I'm not opposed to danger. I mean, the most fun I've had always has an element of danger. I mean, that's what makes it fun. So
By the way,
I don't mind that. I just don't like somebody, because I don't like an operator swinging a tree around trying to unplug. I'd rather just blow his alarm.
Swinging it around.
Well, but you're basing it on the operator. I've seen who you have operate the
I
equipment.
trust Jimmy Red with my life.
Well,
and you did.
And there we agree to disagree. I don't get anywhere near the school of.
Yeah, well, you ain't been knocked enough. I'm telling you. I mean, the bottom line was, by the way, when we do something like that, and now I've got you say, well, what keeps the beavers from just plugging this out?
Nothing.
Here's what a lot of them,
Well, I've got an idea.
Now, you just said it. You heard what he said? He's not on the he's not on the
you've
same
been
page.
down there.
He just
Mr.
Mr.
He said you can't keep them, you can do nothing. Well, here's what you got to remember about beavers and flow of water. Everything is the speed at which the water's flowing. There's a certain speed that
They won't attempt.
Beavers will not attempt it, because what happens is, if they go up there at the mouth of that pipe,
Then they're going through.
they're going on the wild ride. It's too swift. But I do watch it. I don't know what I haven't measured it with some kind of micrometer or whatever. I haven't measured it, but the speed at which that water's going through that pipe determines whether the beaver will stop it up. Right now, they won't even attempt it.
I think that's
But when
common
that current
sense.
slows down and it begins to be half a pipe, got me? When it gets down to half,
Then they're
or a
coming
quarter,
back.
here they come back, because they say, now we'll let the current help us, and that'll bring the debris, and we'll start packing, and they'll put one log this way and one this way.
I think we
and
agree
they'll-
with that.
They mud, and now you got 1,000 pounds of dirt back in there. The velocity of the water. That's a key element for beavers.
Let's take a
Don't
quick.
forget that,
Let's
Jimmy.
take a quick break. This is on our podcast today, which is
The most comfortable, versatile Stratotech pole. Hey guys, this is Joe Kudlow, founder of Fiore, and I'm here today to tell you why the Strat.
is on our podcast today, which is awesome. Zach, you have a pretty good head out here. Do you have any ball pots?
Some seedage.
Ah,
A little receding
so you
hairline.
got any nice
Sure.
at the bottom of the shower?
Yeah, well, I don't see hair fall out, but I notice that my hairline is only when I look at old pictures, like 30 years ago, 50 years ago.
I think it's because you have yuppie tendencies.
3 years is not that long, son. I look at my old pictures, that I did before last night.
Phil, no one noticed. Your look, no one noticed. You look the same.
You get my age and you just finally ended up and you don't care.
Maybe instead of putting a headband on my dad, I got something for you. So one of our long-time sponsors.
Yeah.
Keeps. And basically, what they try to do is make you keep your hair. So if you're younger, like you, this might help you now as opposed to waiting till your dad's age. So Keeps basically offers generic versions of FDA approved treatments that are ready for that. They can evaluate doctors to make sure it ships.
Out here in the middle of nowhere in Illinois. At least they got good roads.
So if you go right now,
So
you
far.
get half off the first row, half off Keeps.com/.
They're gonna run me all the way down to 40 and across. I don't think they'll do that. Well, they might.
So that was Beaver 101, Mr.
I obviously
Subdivision.
agree, but I have a thought that, look, that's common sense. But you've been fighting the beavers for, what, 30 years down there? So I have an idea. That
And
you,
here lately, all Jason's been doing is sitting in front of the computer screen watching the stock market. I don't want his advice about beaver dam removal.
no, I have an idea.
But he's got an idea. I have
Oh,
an
he got
idea.
an
He's
idea.
been thinking of it.
You know, what's the stock market up to? Well, he listen to him. What are the beavers doing? Don't talk to him.
Since you've challenged my intellect, I have an idea.
Yeah.
For 30 years, you've been fighting the beavers, and you said, I figured out how they won't redo the dam. Well, get this, the
I've never
power
beat
of the
him.
water.
I'm winning.
I have the way to beat them.
Winning.
I have the idea. I haven't told you this. Here's what you do. After the water goes down, and you've won this little battle.
Yeah.
But the war, no, because it happens
I've
every
won all the battles.
Here's what I think you should do.
I've never out how to
I
correctly
got
handle it.
it. I got it. What I think you should do is once the water goes down, get the track hoe down there, and you dig a graveyard in front of that pipe. And here's my thing. You dig it as deep as the track hoe will go in all points around that pipe. Because I got to thinking, they can't rebuild it. They got to have their feet. They get their feet
You're
up
correct.
there on the ground,
I've
and they
already
start building. Well, it wasn't deep enough.
Well,
Go deep.
what I'm saying is, you say, how long did it take them to get the big hole that you gouged out in front of them? How long did it take them to fill that back in with mud and debris? 3 years. I dug such a hole, it took them 3 years to get it back up there level with the pipe, then it began to stop the pipe. I've already done that. But you say, it works for a year or 2 or 3.
Well, let's do it
But
again.
you get 10 beavers and they want to dam it up. The Almighty put it in their psyche, if it flows, dam it up. mean, the guy from
I think you've got hundreds.
the province of Alberta, he said, Mr. Alger, if you want to really get in the middle of nowhere, he said, I'm within about an hour and a half of the largest animal-made structure on the planet.
It can be seen from outer space.
It's a beaver dam 1.5 miles long, and out there in the middle, it's 10 or 12 feet high. You can see it from outer space.
Nice.
So when you talk about beavers and their power, it is amazing how much earth beavers can move.
Because in a sense, you're battling something the Almighty put in there. It's really, how would you ever truly win it? I mean, they're just gonna keep coming
If
back.
you take a farmer that can cut trees down with their teeth, you're like,
And move
It
big,
sounds
huge.
like a weird sci-fi maybe if you were.
they use the
They should
current.
have a movie about it. Somebody should have done a killer
Look, they
movie.
can't lift logs like humans can with equipment or whatever. So you say, well, how do they do it? They wait till the velocity of the current is at the peak.
And they just nudge them.
They just nudge them, and look, the current is they know the current carrying out.
So they're tugboat captains on top of everything else.
They're thinking. Listen, I've been at war with these beavers for 30 years.
If
Well,
we
in
could
our
just
culture-
get somebody on the inside where we could
In our
know what they're
culture,
doing.
When them old guys moved westward, when they settled the country, and they said, we're out for beavers, beaver hide. French explorers and
Yeah.
trappers.
It was a
That's
thing.
what who founded the country. When they went out west, beavers weren't down here in the southern part. They stocked them in here. But now, whoever pulled that stunt should have never done that, because now they are nationwide and they are a bone. But you ask the highway department in any state, do y'all have any problem with beavers? And let them get back there. They've killed millions of acres of timber. They've cost millions of man-made hours to get all around Monroe, West, small towns. You know, I mean, to keep the water flowing out of the city into the river. The river's full of them. I mean, look, they have really, it's a
Well,
problem.
somebody told us the gators.
But you don't want to kill
was a
them all
natural
because, you
problem.
know, a beaver, I see them swim by a lot of them. I can shoot them. But if they're in there around that pipe, and if I want to get the water out of there, I'll take a little pot shot from time to time. I said, well, don't bring that little dude. They can have traps, you catch them in and all that. But they're a bone to be chewed. I'm trying to live in harmony with them. And I've had several conferences with them to get them to shut it down, but they will not listen.
If we only had an ambassador, a beaver ambassador, somebody we could send in there to the camp that can speak on our behalf and say, look, we'll tell you where you can
train them. You can train a dog. You know, you can just train the beaver.
Alligators and men are their only predator.
That's why I think this
Big
influx-
gators will take beaver just one.
But now we have an influx of gators.
We do have
because of the last
gators.
flood, so I'm thinking that's a
There's
possibility.
gators there.
So maybe they'll help balance out
I'm hoping they will.
the scheme.
I just don't like getting in a duck blind before daylight. A beaver being there is one thing. A gator is another.
Well, Dan's down there at the mouth of the pipe, you know, and here comes a 10-foot alligator, and you know, then you say local man swallowed by a large gator. You don't want that.
No.
I'm saying in jest, he's expendable. I don't want a gator to get it, or a ride through a pipe. He doesn't hunt. He doesn't duck hunt, man, but he's strictly for the labor and
He just
the
likes-
infrastructure of the duck hunt.
He likes doing dangerous things
He
that
does.
you come up with.
Well, because his I don't know, his Twitter or something is Ninja Dan. So he's a self-proclaimed ninja, which means you would have to put yourself through some rigorous challenges from time to time to maintain your ninja.
He's the
right?
perfect man that came along, and I'm going into my mid-70s, but I was down there yesterday because they did that one. Well, all the pipes, the rest of the pipes that's holding the duck water, we're talking hundreds of acres here.
Right.
And so when I get the water flowing, I go up on the middle levee jays, I have to get those two unstopped. I go to Sire's levee, that's there, I have to get that one unstopped. Because once you get the bottom pipe draining out, I've got to rotor all the pipes.
Well, that's why I'm saying I think we need to dig.
Rotor all the pipes.
Well, that's why I'm saying I think we need to dig deeper holes, which I don't like it because if you fall off in it, now you're in a
Well,
You know,
it's
you're back to
dangerous for us.
a famous Bible verse, but I don't know of any other
I
way.
can't get around there in the front of it and work with it as easy when the big hole's there. But I did tell Red 3 years ago, I said, dig me a big hole there, so it'll take them a while to build it back in there. They're moving.
Because they got to have their
At each
feet.
pipe, there's probably a ton, 2,000 pounds of dirt and mud and logs on each one of these pipe rolls. Well, you just think about it, a ton of dirt, and you're going to go down there with a rake about that wide with a 5-foot handle on it. If you're going to do it by hand,
Well,
it's just a problem.
as large as our podcast audience is, I'm sure somebody's going to have an idea for us. So I look forward to.
Let's get on something spiritual.
Well,
It's
I'm
day-to-day
trying
routine.
to.
Well, let's take.
And everybody wonder what I'm doing at 74 years old during the pandemic. What do you do? I said, what do I do? I said, the word is beavers. Beaver.
Let's take a break.
Humans can be difficult. They can be a difficult resource.
Would you?
Yeah.
So this is especially true of any business because businesses are
Humans can be difficult in any situation.
what's the narrative? Information, wage requirements, labor regulations. There's a lot more stuff. We need to be That's why they have human resources. The problem is, you got to pay somebody to do that. So there's a company, BAMB, that's been specifically created for small businesses. Basically, you get a dedicated HR manager. Basically, 99%. So we want you to check them out. There's month-to-month, no hidden fees, you can't spend any time. So you can basically make sure this is legit. So you get free audit. Go there today. It's BAMB.
One thought I had was, the last couple of days, we get a lot of comments, I've had a lot of discussions about John 6 and 7 that we've been talking about, and the guy had a pretty good question, and he read this John 6:39 to me, and it says, you remember that it kind of got weird in John 6 when Jesus said, you know, I am the bread of life. That was in verse 35. He who comes to me will never go hungry. He who believes in me will never be thirsty. And so I think at that time the people standing there were like, what now? Is this cannibalism? But then he made another interesting comment. Of course, Jesus was trying to portray the heavenly versus the earthly. That was the whole context of what was happening.
Because,
Would you agree?
yes, because he had just fed them the bread and the fish. And basically, they're showing back up for the next meal.
Which you have to have to survive.
You need it. And so they were like, well, we're here for our daily feeding because now we're building an army that wants to be fed miraculously.
Yep.
And so that was the point.
So this discussion I had came from 39 in chapter 6, where it says, and this is the will of him who sent me, that I shall lose none of all that he has given me, but raise them up at the last day. And he was asking about that because a lot of people believe that's a spiritual thing, in that there's only, you know, a few that are saved and none of them will be lost. And so this guy had some really good ideas and
We
points about this.
We get that question a lot.
We do.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how they characterize.
We'll just explain the difference between, because we quoted that Hebrews 5 about those who have by constant use the scriptures as food. It's solid food. So you have spiritual food. Solid food is for the mature, and you start talking about Jesus, the bread of life and all that. You have a spiritual feeding and you have physical feeding. Both of them are constants, meaning You're not going to live without physical food. Your body will shrivel up and you will die of starvation. Well, then you have spiritual food, and there is a big difference. But a man who has figured out both will understand solid foods for the material who by constant
Northbound, you got a big bear right there, the 133 over 2.
Jesus.
Big bear in the middle looking at you there, northbound 133 over 2.
He's saying the qualities that I possess that I'm sure I'm a perfect man. Perfect God, perfect man. You need to feed on me. Whatever I do, however I respond, put that into practice. You're exhibiting spiritual food, and you'll live forever if you feed on me.
Well, I think in this case he was talking about you think about what Jesus did. Jesus conquered the world.
If you think it might rain later, then all you need is this bearskin heavy storm rain jacket. That's because this is the only hiking grade practical rain jacket that's versatile enough to cover and protect any regular boat bed, but strong enough to handle the heavier rainstorm outdoors. This is the only high-powered rain jacket that can withstand 10,000 millimeter heavy storm. If you're ready to keep it stay dry, wherever you are, thousands of people already love wearing the bearskin heavy storm rain jacket instead of their regular rain gear. Why? Because listen, this is heavy rear moisture and dry storage port. Every zip is tight.
Down there to Springfield, you're in the world.
Those zips and seams start to leak.
Appreciate you, driver. Stay safe.
You as well.
That's why the bearskin heavy storm rain jacket comes with watertight rain insulation technology that's fully adjustable to get the rain in the arms, waist, and hood. With the extended peak to keep your face dry. This is the ultralight packable rain jacket that fits in the palm of your hand, making it versatile enough for summer rain and strong enough for heavy rainstorms. Plus, you can attach the bearskin.
And he didn't lose a man. In fact, but there was no war. There, when you think about a king or something,
Just when they were driving.
all right, there, here they are saying, we remember they were going to
We'll make him king by
yeah,
force.
and we'll just take over the world. But this guy,
Satan never had his boot on the neck of Jesus, because 3 days after he died, whoops, he's standing back up again. You're like, whoa.
but he took over the world in a non-military. So I think this is
Excellent.
because let me just read these couple of verses. The next verse, verse 40, my Father's will is that everyone who looks to the Son and believes in him shall have eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. Now let me just read you another thing. So you get to chapter 7, after all this happens, after the miracle, how are people responding? And it says, after this, Jesus went around in Galilee, verse 1, purposely staying away from Judea because the Jews there were waiting to take his life. So, now, there's a couple of things there I want to say about this. Number one is, if someone has the miraculous, if you've seen or heard of a miracle, I'm not sure why they didn't put 2 and 2 together. And what I mean is kind of like Abraham. Remember when he said, sacrifice your son?
Reason to the resurrection.
He reasoned to the resurrection. He's like, wait a minute here. This guy, this being has, if I saw a miracle, if you start thinking what the potential is, well, one of the potentials, if you have the power to manipulate atoms and molecules, then that means there's a possibility that you can beat death. Now, their mind didn't go there.
You got to remember, if you're on row 30, outdoors, and you're on row 30, it would have had to been some type of, I'm just saying, rows. There's 5,000 men there. Here comes the grub.
Yeah.
Well, if you're back there on row 30, and the fish come by, bread, you're not seeing the source of it. It's just coming out of him.
But he's flowing down.
He's down there on the side of the hill, and all this food's flowing out of him, but you're not putting it together. Where does food come
That's what I'm
from?
saying. I'm sure everybody's
You're
looking up
hungry,
there.
you haven't eaten. I mean, here comes the fish and bread, humans being humans. It's like your kinfolks when they come. They start digging in. You're like, whoa, we on the prayer for the rest.
Well, right.
Yeah, y'all.
And so, but they're threatened.
So row 30 does not realize that the source of the food, this is a miracle. They're not aware of it. I mean, how could you tell? That's my point.
Well, right. But
So
I'm
they were
saying,
somewhat in the dark about the miracle, Jace, is what the point is.
yeah,
Could
and I
be.
agree. But they were wanting to kill him. And so he says in verse 6 of chapter 7, Jesus told him, the right time for me has not yet come. And I think this is funny, this next part, because he says, now I think he meant by his death. Because he was staying away, you know, not because he was scared, because obviously he proved that later. He wasn't scared to die.
Now, Jesus, look, he had to show them, Jace, the reason the time was not right. He had to show them how to live before he gets to, and this is the way you die and come back from the dead.
Hang on, let's take a break. So one of the things that I've seen right there is we all churches, same church, but we places. So we haven't been able to get out, which has been strange. So
There's been positives.
there has been. My dad has been writing some pictures. We're getting ready to reopen, which is going to be great. Let's see, folks. But there's a new sponsor. These guys over there. It's called Adjust. I figured you would like that. We mentioned that. Basically, what they do is they try to connect the system, basically. Super easy, centric wherever you go.
Get all your people connected online.
Just go ahead
That's not. I explained to the guys that that's not going to be their main pitch magazine.
and then a cell phone. So,
Basically, you're going to synchronize your church to planning centers, worship, things like that. Churches. So we're excited about this. It's secure. No one else can see your information outside of the church. You can have a mobile app. Send us a browser. Send us a
Domino's Best Deal Ever is back. Any hand-tossed, pan, thin crust, or New York style. Just 99.
and a printout. There you go.
So when you're connecting, like with a fish online, this is connecting people online. This is you're going back.
And the good thing is, it's inexpensive. They understand it's free for all churches that have less than 50 people. So if you're a small church, it's free. $10 a month for churches. Churches are pretty inexpensive. You know, prices go up as the price for churches. Go to AJC.com. Get the new church where you can 2 minutes. It's a great And another thing, Dad, is
you understand my point there?
that's true. And before you make a point, Dad, is there were also things he had to do to fulfill prophecy. That had
You got it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that, which is where I'm going with this. But then he made a little joke here. He said, "For you, anytime you want."
But it is funny. Think about it, because 1 minute you want to be king, next minute other people up here want to kill me. You talk about mob rule.
But he's like, it's not time for me to die. For you, anytime. However, there was a looming prophecy, and you say, what? Well, if you turn to John 18, when he was arrested, when Jesus was arrested, listen, I think this is really interesting. And my buddy put this on me. I hadn't made this parallel. But it says, here comes Judas, he betrays him. When Jesus said, I am he, this verse 6 of 18, they drew back and fell to the ground. Weird. Again, he asked them, who is it you want? They said, Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus said, I told you that I am he. If you are looking for me, then let these men go. Well, these are his, disciples, his followers. This happened so that the words he had spoken would be fulfilled. And here in quotes, which is a quote from X39, I have not lost one of those. It goes back to that, when he said here, that I shall lose none of all that he has given me. So I really think that this situation, now we're going to the deep water here, was in reference to him becoming king through his death and resurrection, and not losing any of his followers in a battle. Because when you think about it, he actually lost them all after this, as far as through death, but not really, because his death, burial, and resurrection, then came the outpouring of the Holy Spirit, which then his disciples surrendered to. So then when they had the martyr's death, he didn't lose any of them, because they're all indestructible now because of what happened with the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus. I really think that's what it's talking about. Not a theology where that eliminates half or 3/4 of the population, because he said this phrase. You see, I mean, now a lot of people may not even know what that is, but I think that's what that specific verse, which we try to stay out of the weeds on this podcast, but I think there's been so many questions on what did he mean by that?
We know, because there's some stuff out there. And also, another thing he had to do, Jace, was he still had to, there were other prophecies. There was the one where he would come in on a donkey or foal or donkey, and where they would sing Hosanna. I mean, he wanted it to remind people that are looking. It's like, oh yeah, this is how he comes. This is the Messiah. This is him.
Well,
and they knew Solomon. They knew Zechariah.
What's the number? There's somebody's documented. How many prophecies did he
I can't remember the number, but every one.
It was hundreds. I know
Everyone
that.
One after the other.
So you're like, well, why is that a big deal? Because a lot of probably people that are listening don't realize that. You say, what do you mean by fulfilled prophecy? So a prophet would say something, and then hundreds of years, even thousands,
Even thousands.
here comes this person claiming to be God, who fulfilled what was said, and every one of them, 100% was fulfilled. Even this little statement in John 6 about not losing them, oh, he got that too, because he didn't lose a man. And a lot of people don't understand that, because they're like, well, he lost Judas. Well, nobody was lost till after Jesus did what he did, and Judas was by his own.
Which again, to the point of what you said earlier about the doctrines that get built out of this, and we've talked about Judas before, people have a choice, which is what he said in John 6:40. Those that look to the Son and believe in him. So it is a choice you make to be a follower. And therefore you can't say, well, you don't really have a choice because you were born to either be one or not. It's a bad way to look at this.
Plus, he's fulfilling these texts, and here's just one of many, 700 or so years before Jesus showed up. He had no beauty or majesty to attract us to him. Nothing in his appearance that we should desire.
This is Isaiah 53.
Isaiah 53. He was despised and rejected by men. That's what Jace is alluding to right here. You're like, yeah. A man of sorrows, familiar with suffering, like one from whom men hide their faces. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. What's amazing, to this day, the same drumbeat. There's a lot of people, when you say the word Jesus, they curl their lips at you, and they sneer, and they just come at you, and I mean, just rip your reputation to shreds.
Well, I was going to bring that up.
Why would you be mad at Jesus?
Well, my practical application was this. If you read John 7, after he said, the right time for me is not yet come, for you any time is right. The next verse says, the world, this is John 7:7, the world cannot hate you. And you think, well, what did he mean by that? Well, he explains it. It says, but it hates me because I testify that what it does is evil.
Yep.
Now,
there's their why.
That's it.
You know what I think's interesting about this? Is that really when you read everything Jesus did, he never really had these sermons of what we call hellfire and brimstone. The only one I remember, I think it's in Matthew 15, where he said, "Out of the heart comes evil thoughts and sexual immorality,
pretty good barn
Tree
burner.
bearing bad fruit."
Well, I thought the Sermon on the Mount.
But he had a pretty good barn burner to the Pharisees.
Whoa.
With the
The
woe sermon.
section. Woe to you.
But that's my point. You think, well, how did he testify to what is evil? Well, I think the number one thing he did was that he didn't do any evil.
This is the fastest proven way to actually remove under eye bags with no Botox and no surgery.
So he represented
Correct.
righteousness, which by nature, because we know he had no
But
sin.
Jace, on the hellfire and brimstone point you made, you're a little bit shaken
I don't
now.
think so. I don't think so.
Because the little statement, unless you repent, you will perish. Well, don't worry about him who can destroy the body, but the one who can destroy both body and soul in the fires of hell. There's a little hellfire in
But
that.
I'm so positive. Like what did he do
It
with the
is.
Samaritan woman? What did he do?
Agreed.
Where he got upset and with the testifying to evil was usually against religious people.
He did say, "My yoke's easy and my burden." You put a yoke on a couple of mules, you're going to plow a field, and my burden is light. He did say, look, this is attainable and it's achievable to walk like I walk. But unless you give him time to show you how he walked through these texts we're reading, how would you know exactly who he was?
What was amazing was
Took some time to say, this is the perfect man, here's the way you ought to roll.
and it was only 3 years to do it. So let's take one last break.
Think about what's happened in America, and it didn't take it, but because I saw it coming and didn't realize it, from the 60s to now. So we've had about 60 years, give or take a few, 50 to 60 years, to run this Jesus, run him out of our school system. If you don't educate little children and you don't tell them about Jesus, how would they ever know what the perfect man ought to look like? And if you don't have some kind of semblance of training and discipline, and you see what I'm saying, teaching,
like Jay says, even the
rebuking,
just the
correcting.
virtues of Jesus, just who he was. If you talk about
Well, that's Jason's point, because if you don't take the time, what all the prophets said, and he's showing you how you ought to be. Well, if that's missing and void, I watched it took 60 years, but you say, I'm seeing it now, speed up, looking bad now. But Jesus didn't stay but 33. So you're like, 33 years, that's a short period of time to show you how you ought to behave.
You know what's
Really, it was only
crazy?
3 years.
Look, you just
Only
think about what we've said, though. He conquered the world without a fight. There wasn't a war. He actually conquered the world in death.
It was a war, but a spiritual one.
Why? I mean, just he didn't lose a man.
That's right.
He basically there. I don't think in the history of the world there's ever been a war where you won and you didn't lose one man, one person.
You're probably right.
I mean,
By the way, the
major
ongoing war,
consequences.
our cultural war now, you say, I've been saying it here, one after the other. Whether people are listening, I think they are, based on their cards, their letters, and all this.
Oh, they're listening.
But I'm just saying, it looks like to me, in this time, our current situation, Jace, what in the world would be wrong with people seriously contemplating? Why don't we just be like Jesus? There wouldn't be warfare, hatred between us. There would be forgiveness, and there'd be love, and there'd be patience.
Because I think
you'd think people would say, "Well,
I think Jesus is the most loved being in the world, but he's also the most hated." And he just said it. He's like, "You think you're hated? No, you don't know what hate is. Come fill my shoes." So I think in there is the problem. You have people who love him with all their heart. You have people who hate him because he gave you the reason. Because their deeds are evil. He exposes that. If you turn back and read in John 3, he says the same thing when he said, "This is the verdict." 19. This is right after he said, "For God so loved the world, he gave only Son." Everybody knows.
The world. That's everybody.
Everybody. He loves the world.
Everybody.
I told you I got into an argument one time that with a fella who said that Jesus didn't die for everybody. And I was like, here's the problem I have with that. Let me just interrupt you. God is not like us. We decide to love, we decide to hate. God always loves. He is love. It's not that way. I know that's hard to wrap your head around. That's why it doesn't say God decided to love. It said God is love. He just is. So 3 verses later, he said, this is the verdict. I mean, it immediately takes you to a courtroom and you say, what about it? Here's the judge saying, this is the verdict. Light has come into the world, but men love darkness instead of light because their deeds were evil.
I see it every day.
So that's what Jesus was saying. The reason they hate me is because I expose the evil. And I don't have to really give a sermon about it. He did on occasion, but I'm saying it was more him representing goodness and righteousness and treating people fairly, no matter what they did or their past. You remember what was the evil in the next chapter will be in John 8. The evil is that they were fixed to kill a woman and justified in the name of religion.
And really just would sacrifice her to trap Jesus.
At one time.
Right. Well, let me finish reading the verse and then you
ahead.
come back. Everyone who does evil, because this is the phrase he used. This is verse 20. Hates the light. That's why he said they hate me. And will not come into the light for fear that his deeds will be exposed. And on the other side, here we are. Whoever lives by the truth comes into the light so that it may be seen plainly that what he has done has been done through God. There you go, because we only have a minute.
Love for God.
Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet.
One more, everybody.
My favorite shirt that Fiore has, hands down, is the Ponto Performance Crew. It's not too tight.
It's been done through God. There you go, because we only have a minute.
Love for God and love for your neighbor, it comes hard. It's hard. At one time, we too were foolish, disobedient. The book of John, we've been reading about these people, deceived and enslaved by all kinds of passions and pleasures. We lived in malice and envy, being hated and hating one another. You're like, things haven't changed a bit. But, and this is what we're discussing, and here's a good thought for today. Titus 3, by the way. But when the kindness and love of God our Savior appeared, God in flesh, standing on the earth, the book of John, we're studying. He saved us. What's this? Not because righteous things we have done, but because of his mercy. He saved us through the washing of rebirth and renewal by the Holy Spirit. When the kindness and love of God our Savior appeared. Going back to Jesus' point, he knew how to love. He said, you got evil deeds, not all of you, all of you. I love you so much, I love you so much. I'm going to remove your sin and raise you from the dead. All you have to do is try me, it'll work. And you look at our culture today, I'm sorry to say, we forgot Jesus. We forgot it.
And the Bible says when the time had fully come, so he came at the time when Israel was under Roman rule to give himself to die a terrible death. And my theory is to show us just how bad evil is. And that was part of that Isaiah passage. So,
Man.
Well, it's good stuff to chew on. So hope this will encourage you to keep digging in the scriptures. We do appreciate all your notes and questions. I've got some really good ones from future podcasts that are coming in. This is what we're going to do. So we're so glad you guys were with us.
What about you?
So last night, Jason, I was at the church building. We had one of those meetings. We had to film a couple of videos, and there was a couple of guys there. Bert was from Michigan, and he and another guy had come down here to West. They're podcast watchers and listeners. He was just on his motorcycle. He said, "Yeah, we think we'll take a run down to West Monroe. It's been a couple of days." Which is, I said, "Well, how long did he get here?" He said 16 and a half hours.
On a motorcycle.
On a motorcycle. But and so somebody said, "Boy, I bet you got some saddle sores," And he said,
Fortunate to be alive.
He is, but he's a super nice guy, so it's nice to meet you, where I know you're watching. And then it's interesting because this week, You know, I was on one of the former podcast days, so this guy sends me a letter. This is from Captain Kirk. He's from Ohio. He watches. Seriously, that's his handle, I guess. Which I kind of liked him already because I was a big Star Trek guy. And so he said that he quoted me as saying on one of the podcasts, because you talked about, I think it's when we were talking about getting those championship ring replicas. I was like, Jace, why do you get all the cool stuff and all I get in the mail are bills? So I was kind of making a joke about it. So this guy, Captain Kirk, says that's just not right. So he said, I want to right the wrong. So knowing that you are one of the biggest Joe Burrow fans in the state of Louisiana, I thought I'd send you a unique gift I'm certain your brother hasn't received. So here was the gift.
At AdVet, we help sleep apnea sufferers avoid the CPAP issue. We know when we get the nose and throat working properly, most snoring and sleep apnea problems
hasn't received. So here was the gift. It is, there's the front of it. It's an Ohio State jersey, which I first saw the front of it and I thought, I wonder what that's supposed to mean. But then I turned it over. And so it was Burrow's, because he played at Ohio State for, 3 years before he transferred to LSU for our championship season.
So we moved on.
So he said, and he said,
Did they run him off? Did he leave?
Well, he was hurt, and so he didn't get to compete for the starting job. And so then the year after he was hurt and was ready to compete, the other guy had already won the job. So he couldn't crack in the lineup.
Yeah, see, I mean,
as it turned out, bad move by Ohio State.
Well, did they win? When's the last time they won?
No, that was before Burrow. It was right before him. It was the national championship.
It was a bad move.
Well, it probably was. Well, I'm sure that's the way they look at it now. Of course, really interesting because it was but it was the perfect storm because Burrow, the previous year at LSU, he was good, but he wasn't what he was this past year. I mean, he elevated into another zone, but it was just the right recipe of all the stuff that was going on at LSU. Which I'm glad we're talking about it again because football, we haven't been able to watch sports, baseball, nothing else, and I'm thinking like, man, we got to keep bringing up the LSU national championship days all year because I don't even know if they're going to be playing again or if they'll be playing.
Yeah, they just started golf back, which it's hard to make golf exciting, but when you haven't watched sports in months, it was riveting.
Yeah. And it was weird because there were no people there, so somebody the guy made a hole in one, and you heard.
At least football went out in a blaze of glory.
Well, it did for us. So I want to read you what he said here. I thought this was pretty good because this guy is quite the wordsmith. He says, although Burrow has ascended to legendary status in the value, the very essence of Joe's genesis is firmly ensconced within the fertile football soils of the Buckeye State. I like Captain Kirk. I like your, he said.
But he came from Ohio State.
El Capitan, I'm looking at the facts here. The claimed national titles at Ohio State, the last one was 2014. So that was before Burrow.
Yeah, they had that. Remember, that's the year the guy got hurt right at their start at the end of the season, and then some freshman. Remember that big kid, the freshman came in and won the 2 playoff games.
Some kid went pro, so everybody's happy.
Oh, yeah.
But it's all in how you gauge success, and when you get outside of Jesus, I guess when you're talking about college football, it's got to be national championship. But I think football's a team sport, so. We appreciate y'all sending this down.
Oh, I like that.
I think the coolest.
He understands I'm not going to wear it because he said that in the letter. He said, "I know you're, because I don't wear other team stuff."
Do you want to get shot? No,
I did.
I'm past the rah-rah team.
I think you passed that 50 years ago.
Yeah, I think you passed that when you walked away from the game.
Yeah. You do watch it, but you don't seem to have that competitive. Because if you watch the LSU game with me.
Oh, Jace is still jumping around like he's in the game, Dad. He's there. In his mind,
I don't get that worked up about things like that.
I'll tell you this: when we won it, I took a picture. Then I ran outside and just ran down the street hollering. Dogs started barking.
Is that the way you reacted, Dad? Did you run down to the river?
No. When I'm running down the street, somebody's after me.
So it was interesting.
And I don't have a weapon.
We had Si was over at the house watching the national championship game because he doesn't have ESPN. I'm like, so how do you not? I mean, like, you like sports, right? And he said, oh yeah, I love it. He said, well, it was getting so doggone expensive, so we cut some of. So we cut. I said,
I've got enough money.
That's what I'm saying. I said, it doesn't get too expensive to get rid of your sports channel.
You call me tight? Your brother, you need to talk to him.
Well, I think it may be Christine, his wife, that was the driving force. But he has to come to my house to watch the big games unless it's on regular TV, which is like, so you can't have sports and not have ESPN.
Yeah, the last time I talked to him about this, we got into it turned into a Duck Dynasty episode, which it was, because we had an argument about live TV, you know, because he was wanting to watch some tape game at my house. I was like, what? I was like, why don't, you know, he said, well, I don't have ESPN. I was like, yeah, but it's happening. It's dead. He's like, no, it ain't dead. I was like, well, if it's not live, it's dead, right? And he's like, no. I want to come watch it. I was like, no. Go.
I will just remind you that your name is Jason Silas. You were named after Silas.
I just thought it was a weird thing to ask. Let me come watch. Did you take the game? Let me come watch it at your house. I'm like, no, I watched it live. Why would I take it? He's like, well, I just thought that's what you did.
So,
well, you were wrong.
The reason that Jason and I are really LSU fans, because Dad never really watched a lot of, I don't remember you watching a lot of college sports when we were growing up, or really being into football that much. You kind of watch more pros than now. But the reason you and I are LSU fans is because of our uncle Harold.
That's right.
Dad's older brother Harold.
Well, and Judy lived down there, and so like they would invite us, and we would go to LSU games. And Jimmy Frank graduated LSU, and so did Harold. But Harold was like a just diehard fan, and Judy was too. Although she graduated from Northwestern. They were fans like, you're from Louisiana, this is your state school, these boys need your support. You know, some kids, and they told me that. I'm like, okay.
But they, you know, like Judy, and I lived with Judy a couple years in Plus, and so she would get up on game day and she would crank up the LSU fight song, and she would grab a broomstick and she would go down the hall like she was the drum major. I mean, that's how she woke everybody up in the house on Saturday.
Oh, I remember the first game I went to, the morning of game day, our cousin Trey, I was asleep on the couch, and I heard, you know, like somebody was in trouble, screaming and hollering. He come running through, did not have one stitch of clothes on, carrying an LSU flag, hollering, and I thought, these people they're into LSU football.
Naked fandom.
Sober here, Phil. And there was no, I'm just saying.
You have little nuggets from time to time. Do not get too overly involved in civilian affairs. I'm stretching the text a little bit.
I was just saying, I don't know. I hadn't read that verse.
I don't know what
the book of Phil.
You know, in the South, college football is almost like an organism.
It is.
You know,
it is. It's its own little. I mean, some say religion. I don't know if I go that far, but people are into it.
I remember I had the strangest. The first time I met Tim Tebow, he came to my house, and you know how you think someone loves the Lord, and that's kind of how we're traveling in the same circles. And but I was like, what are we gonna do when this comes up? I mean, the guy went to Florida here.
And he had a big back and forth with LSU. They had some big games while he was there, both ways.
Yeah, and he was like, off the record.
People approaching 65 need to realize that choosing the right time to start Medicare can have a
off the record. So he said, and I was like, I mean, it was really hard for me in that moment. And then he kind of laughed. And
it takes new meaning to love God and love your neighbor.
Yeah, I thought, well, he's hitting it where this what we have in Jesus, he's putting that to the test right here before my eye. Because he was mad because they got his phone number and he told the whole
remember
story.
when he did the numbers?
I said, when you did that at that moment
to the students,
I wanted to hit you right between the eyes. And he's like, if you heard that you're so, you should have heard the 4-letter words that they were. They were drunk. They didn't know what they were saying. He's like, you're going to take up for
I
these
just
people?
sort of stepped back one day and said, it's a game.
Well, we were kind of
It's a
kidding.
game.
It's game playing fun.
Well, it is interesting when you meet some of the people now. Like I say that about Tebow. I mean, I love Tebow. I mean, I love what he represents. The whole thing of him in the pro game, I felt like he was kind of mishandled because of he was so strong in his faith and some stuff happened to him. So I love him, but when he was in Florida, no sir. I mean, he was enemy number one. I mean, I knew he was a Christian, as a good guy, but I didn't care about all that. Let's wait till we get past the game, and then we can get back to
I always just appreciated his talent.
Yeah.
But I knew with
He had a
the
hitch.
long wind up,
Yeah,
I said,
he had a hitch.
he won't do good in the pros. He won't probably make it in the pros. They said, oh, yeah.
But I think now,
he's
all the leadership and all that, he just had that one hitch.
but Al, that's where they're missing. What they fail to realize, because now look at the Saints. You know, they have their backup quarterback. They actually have a package for him. That guy's a beast.
he really is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they could have found the same role with Tebow. Because look, a guy like that, he inspires people around him to be better people. I think every workplace he's been in will say that. And you would only know, you're not going to get that from an interview. When you get to know him, this guy, you know, you're ready to run through a wall. I want this guy on my team. I'll find a place to make this work, you know.
Did I ever tell you about the time? So Lisa and I were on our way to Africa, and we were in the airport somewhere overseas, Amsterdam. And so we're sitting in one of these lounges because we've got these long layovers. So we're in there like 6 hours. Lisa's trying to sleep, you know, so I'm drinking coffee. I look up. I'm in an Amsterdam airport lounge. I'm halfway around the room. I look up and I see 2 guys walk by. I said, Lisa, does that look like Tebow? And they were kind of far away, and she was like, no. So I said, that's about Tim Tebow. What would he be doing after this? So I got up, started looking around the lounge.
He looks like Tim Tebow.
That's what I'm saying.
Amsterdam.
And I look over.
Said no one.
I look over at this group of people in a circle. Tebow had his back to me, so I didn't see him. But his dad had I saw a Florida hat. I was like, oh, that's them. So I just walked right up in the middle of it. It was this whole family. It was his mom, dad, his brother, somebody. And they were just kind of sitting in a circle. They were just like us. They were just waiting. And I was like, who in the world would think they would see the Tebows in Amsterdam? And they first looked at me because they don't know me that well. I met them. And they were looking at me like, and then they busted out laughing when I said that. And I told them what it was. And they was like, oh, sit down. Let's get weirdest thing to run across them over there. We wound up, this took about 2 hours. Because his dad is a great guy. He was a pastor for many years. And I wonder, how's he doing? He was sick. Like,
you know, I don't know. I hadn't talked because we do the Tebow event every year, and this year because of the coronavirus, you know, they didn't do it. So I haven't caught up. But I think he's doing well. He was actually in his dad because we play golf to raise the money,
right?
And we get to play at the Tebow. Yeah,
which is awesome.
Yeah, it really is. And so, getting to know him, he's one of the. I see why Tebow is how he is. I mean, his dad has a special knack for making everyone around him feel like special. Some people just have a knack for it.
Part of the reason too, we've always hated that one of our most obnoxious uncles, some of our cousins.
That was my issue.
Yeah, they're huge Florida fans, and so it was.
Trash talk always got to epic proportions. So, but this year, you can imagine our lives have been really.
They've been great. So thank you, Captain Kirk, for the gift. Let's take a break. So one of the things that I don't, everybody tries to money. One thing I'm not spending money on is something to do with.
On our way down to Arkansas. Listening to the Unashamed podcast. Chase, Phil, Al. Just before Phil died.
I don't know what to tell you. No, I did take a nap. I got that. Your old dad.
About
not an hour. I'll take about 30 minutes.
A little over an hour away from St. Louis.
So, but I get your point. Because like my wife, I know where I rank. I mean, there's God, there's sleep, and then there's me. So I get it.
And so
just a redneck view of harmony.
So one of our sponsors, a company named Bowling Ranch, makes some really great built connections. And so you think about it, you look at the ragtag bunch like Harvard, and these guys go sheets beyond because it's comfortable, right? Because of what you said. And what I love about these guys is they're a great American business.
Right now we're just cruising through Illinois.
All their pillows are made in Cincinnati, their mattresses in Texas and Arizona. They're a great example of what you want in American business. Of course, they're online, which is
Started last night in
So
Wisconsin.
Olin Branch is offering a 30-day guarantee.
Drove up there and got the load. And I got back to the Wisconsin-Illinois state line. Parked for the night. And it's a little over a 10-hour drive from where I was at, all the way down here to going to Russellville, Arkansas, which is pretty much the northwest tip of Arkansas.
So,
yeah, we're listening to the Unashamed podcast.
What's the process?
Literally
you know,
reading
it's
the
just
Bible all the way
random. They
through.
send me a
So
lot of stuff that I think is.
they talk about
some stuff is specific.
their lives and what's going on. All this is after the Duck Dynasty stuff. So.
Too, are really.
Phil was alive when all this was going on.
I like that we do this because when you think about what we do here, we're, talking about the point of the Bible. That's what we highlight, which is, to reveal Jesus. But somewhere in all this, your faith in Jesus has to affect your everyday life. It's not just, I think what religious people tend to do is just.
The #1 hair regrowth shampoo just dropped to its lowest price ever. If you've been wanting to try Spartan Mood Activate...
I think what religious people tend to do is just compartmentalize religion as a part of their life, which, when you read this, there's no support for that. And so, when you get out and people bare their soul, I guess, because I read over these, it's pretty humbling to read, someone he's listening to something on a podcast, next thing you know, he's bearing his soul here.
Well, and we appreciate the transparency. We've been transparent, and so we appreciate that. So let's start with Ryan's question. He said, and I'll read you what he said, so I thought it was really humbling. He said, I go to church, I try to live my life like I should, but no matter how much I try, there's always a little voice in my head saying, is he real? Is that all caps? And all these amazing stories in the Bible, are they real? And I love this statement, it's so honest. I'm trying to teach my kids about something I don't fully believe in myself. And so he asked us to give him some advice. He said, the reason I'm asking you is because I'm ashamed to talk about it with anybody else. And I thought it was interesting because Jason and I were saying, our podcast is unashamed, but Ryan has just been transparent saying, look, it's hard for, he's in a community where everybody assumes that he's believed 100% everything, but he's struggling. He's struggling on the faith side. We talk a lot about struggle on the sin side of what people do in their actions being evil, but you can also struggle in your faith in terms of is it real? Is it fake? So I thought we'd talk about that.
I just did my last Zoom youth group meeting last night, which I did 20 I think in 30 days. So quit sending requests because that's over. We did it because of the coronavirus. And look, I enjoyed doing them. That was 20 different cities, hundreds of youth, but this question, it was the most common feel that, I felt with because I would do like a 20-minute introduction to Jesus. And then they would ask Q&A. And I think that's a legitimate question because, look, when you think about it, my #1 goal, which is, even for the people listening right now, is at some point you've got to read one of the Gospels. I prefer John. That's why we're studying John, but anyone's fine. And you have to make a personal decision on what you think of Jesus. Because this is designed by God to be done through faith.
Right.
Now, he explains that we can give you the verses about faith and read you the definition, but it's basically believing and being sure of something that you don't see, which is God. Even though you see, you talk about the creation, you have the Bible, you can see transformation in lives, but still it's based on a fact of you hear Jesus or you read Jesus for yourself. And so I always recommend that right off the bat. Read the book of John, takes 20 minutes, and then ask yourself one question: who is Jesus? What is my opinion of Jesus? Because that is really the simplistic way to get assurance through faith.
Well, I would answer, what's his name?
Ryan.
Ryan, here's what you do. You read the book of John, as Jace just said, and then you pick up down here in 1 John. John also wrote that, chapter 2 and verse 3. This is found. And you're not always going to be like, I'm not quite sure, until you understand one thing. We know that we have come to know him, which is at the crux of his dilemma. He said, I'm going through the motions. He said, how can I tell really that he's real? Well, you're going to know that you've come to know him if we obey his commands. Now, this is one important. The man who says, I know him, which is, it's Ryan. Ryan's struggle is, he said, oh yeah, I'm a Jesus man. I know Jesus. Well, the man who says that, I know him, Jesus, but does not do what he commands is a liar. The truth's not in it. But here's the deal, Ryan. If anyone obeys his word, read what Jesus said, listen to what he told you, observe how he walked, observe his qualities. If anyone obeys his word, God's love is truly made complete in him. This is how, Ryan, we know we are in him. Whoever claims to live in him, and here's his struggle, must walk as Jesus did. So when it comes right down to the most difficult thing there is for a human being on planet Earth is to love God and love your neighbor, and then you prove it. You offer yourself, your body, as a living sacrifice before God, so that when people run up on you, look, if you do that, Ryan, a strange thing will happen. Once you were not a people, now you are the people of God. Once you had not received mercy, but now you have.
No one tell them where you're at.
Yeah, I'm in 1 Peter chapter 2 here. I urge you, Ryan, to, as according to the Apostle Peter, I urge you, here's what you'll be like in the world. As aliens and strangers in the world, to abstain from sinful desires which war against your soul. If you walk like Jesus, this will not be an issue. But if you do walk like Jesus, there are many that will say, that man, that's strange. He should have been mad at what just happened to him, but he's not. He's not mad when he should be mad. You may get angry, but I've never seen him acted out in a sinful way. Well, the more you do those things, the world around you will say, why? How come you didn't retaliate? You said, I'll leave one for God's wrath. I'm a follower of Jesus. I'm not into that. I have trained myself to be merciful when I shouldn't be, but I'm still merciful. I'm aware of my surroundings. I love my Savior, and I love my neighbor, and I'm going to prove it to you by the way I roll. If you do that, Ryan, then the more you grow in that right there, the more you'll understand. Now I know what it is. I know he's there. I see the results of it in people's lives. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. That's Jesus.
Right, and looking like him. Let's take a break. So Dad, if I said the word legal sin,
If you think it might rain later, then all you need is this bearskin heavy storm rain jacket. That's because this is the only
Being old St. Louis here, probably about an hour.
Cat said New York City lawyer with his hair slicked straight back. Legal Zoo.
Why would he be leaving so bad? They just
Because he's always trying to get ahead of the game.
his hair zing.
Yeah. That's the Zoom part.
I'm interested to know what this is.
Well, so there's a company called Legal Zoom. I don't know necessarily know it's a hair slick back lawyer, but it is a group of people that basically you can ask legal questions to. And so that's their business. Basically, you got a question about protect your family, a will, a living trust, how to start a business, how to start a LLC, Legal Zoom. That's the way to give you that.
These are actually pretty close.
Yeah. Except oh, Zach, I mean, this is a you and I started.
And only Phil would attach the hairstyle to the
I'm
profession.
just saying, that hair looking straight back.
See if I can't get the wife on here, see what she's doing. She's still working, or shouldn't be working. Try to get the old wifey online. Oh, hey. What's good?
Going to get groceries.
Oh, the old grocery getter, huh?
Yeah.
In a station wagon?
No.
Oh, excuse me. I'm just rolling.
I've been watching.
Oh, yeah?
I commented.
You did?
Yeah.
Why am I not seeing my comments? Oh, now I see it. She said, I love you. I love you too, wifey. Oh, babe. Boy, I couldn't see it. No. Podcasting out.
Yes, I've been listening.
Yeah. Can you hear it pretty good?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. They're in John 8 right now, I think. They're talking to a guy named Ryan right now.
As you just said, read the book of John and then think about it, who do you think Jesus is?
Yeah. Oh.
John's a good book. Said John's a good book.
Yep. I'm in John 7. I'll have to read John 7 and John 8. I'm kind of going through the book with them as I'm going. To kind of keep up with what they're discussing. I don't know how much I'm on. I still got 7 hours. It's gonna be Saturday when I get there, so I'm probably gonna have a skeleton crew working. Should almost take my 34 when I'm there. Get it out of the way. So I can do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Well, Thursday, I don't know. I might be home on Thursday. I don't know. they're gonna send me, if they're gonna send me earlier. So I kind of want to get my 34 out of the way. So I'll have hours. Because if I don't, I got 4 hours left now. I have 17 hours when I get there. It's probably gonna, I don't know if it's gonna throw me something or not. But if it throw me like something to Indianapolis, that'd be great. I could drive home, take my 34 hours, you get back, get on the road Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, come back on Thursday. Yeah, all right, with it? Send him an email, be like, hey, if you can get me towards home for my 34, that'd be awesome. Oh. You know what? I'm gonna send him an email. See what he says. Well, he's getting ready to go to lunch now, so I'll wait till about 2-ish. That'll give him about 3 or 4 hours to. Yeah, I can get you one to Indianapolis. That'll be good miles too. Take a 34 tomorrow, so Saturday, all Sunday, so I can go back in Monday morning. Probably go right back to Pottsville. Working my way back. So that's a good 500 miler to get back. Indiana. Folks, I'm gonna shut it down for a little while. I'll come back on here later, but thanks for riding with me. Well, appreciate you. See you here in a little bit. Have a great day. God bless.